Right, boys, welcome to my scuffed review of the game that got me to CM. It's been a while since I've uploaded, or just recorded in general, because I've been moving. As you can tell, I've got a new background. I think there's a Marvel poster there. But I don't watch Marvel. It's my sister's. Probably wants that, but anyway. So that's my background now. We'll figure it out. It's very scuffed, but I feel like I haven't uploaded in like a week, so I wanted to get someone out. I thought we'd review my game against Silverio Abisola, and this is the game that got me to CM. Okay, so I started with D4. It's like very standard for me these days. It's all I play. Maybe sometimes E4, but D4 is what I'm playing most of the time. He plays G6, and I was kind of expecting this when I did like a little bit of research on his games, although he doesn't have many. And here I played G3. But another one I could have gone for is E4 and plays D6, so he would have gone into like a modern sort of thing, and I didn't really want that. I wanted something I was more familiar with, more comfortable with. Because if I won this game, I would have got my title. If I drew, I would have been like 2 rating off or something. And if I lost, that would have been bad. So yeah, this was in the 4NCL, by the way, the final round. So a win as well would help TBD get promotion. So yeah, I played this G3 line, and he went D5. So now, obviously, nothing like this modern position that we would have got. It was D5, and I played Bishop G2, Knight F6, and yeah, it's symmetrical. So I play C4 and C6. And here's where it actually starts to get a little bit interesting, because it's not actually that common, this position. At least I don't think it is. Sorry, this is, after this, sorry, this isn't that common. And probably like the main move is to just go like B3. Oh, sorry, I can't draw arrows still. It's probably just go B3, so like B3, Knight BD7, maybe Bishop B2, and then after like A5, let's try and play A4. I can just play A4 myself and play things like this. Yeah, I didn't go for that. I actually took on D5 and he takes back. And now the only difference is that his bishop is developed and my knight is developed here. And basically what I want to do is go like knight b3, knight c5 and hit this and maybe make this weak. But first I go knight h4 to push this bishop back, which I see a little bit weak. Because my knight's on the edge and his bishop being on e6 doesn't actually matter, because it's guarding this d5 pawn. And he still kind of has control on the e4 square anyway. Like, I'm never really going to push e4 because I'm going to have an isolated d pawn. So knight h4 was a slight mistake. I something to learn from. Usually you want to play this, and my idea was actually knight h4, f4, f5. But after bishop e6, which he plays, I can't actually go f4 because, you know, he just develops knight c6, and then after f5 he can just take it, and this actually isn't good for me. This is really bad for me because obviously this pawn's hanging. So then when I have to waste a move to like defend this, it then goes e6, and then this is really strong for him. So this is not what happened. I played knight h4 and he plays bishop e6, and then I went knight b3, again trying to come to this c5 square. And at the time I thought this was like a really good idea, you know, I'm moving my pieces forwards, his is going back, and after he plays knight c6 and knight c5, his only move is bishop c8, and I thought this was okay for me because I've moved his bishop back, like I've pushed it here and here. So already it's moved 1, 2, 3 times just to get back to its original square. And I thought that was good for me. But it turns out it's not that good. And when I was thinking, I actually realized that my knight's really bad and I want to go back to f3. But then he can just go to f5. Obviously, the big pawn's hanging, but that's the point. It's like when I bring it back, he sells his square, and it was a bit pointless bringing it here. I decided to go for this quite creative idea, which my teammates didn't like, but I really liked it. And that is, now that I go knight f3, obviously bishop f5 doesn't work, as I just said, because b7 pawn's hanging, and he can't go like b7 because I think I can just go here and this is protected. So here's the right idea, and he goes, my PC is being very light. He goes knight e4 to then hit this knight on c5, and this is what I had to think about before I played knight f3. I spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I went for this crazy move, which again my teammates didn't really like. I played knight d3, and sorry, I'm a little bit ill. Well, I'm not ill, but it's hay fever. And yeah, I hope it isn't too bad. It always annoys when people like cough on videos and stuff, but I hope that isn't the case. So yeah, I played knight d3, and this essentially just hangs a pawn, because he's hitting this d pawn twice, and my knight's protected once, and I've blocked off the line of defense for my queen. But obviously I saw this. After knight 6 d4, knight takes d4, bishop takes d4. The actual, I'll show you the best line, the engine line, is to go bishop h6 first, because then after this sort of arrangement, I can go knight f4, and then when he goes e6, I have a really nice position here. But he just wants to get rid of this pawn. It's very equal. Because the problem is, after this, is queen has no real good squares. Maybe I can even go rook c1 or h4, h5. My position is just a lot better. This knight's better. This bishop's awful. If bishop ever comes to d7, I can maybe just go queen c7. Sometimes I can even sack on e6. Like I can sack the rook and then I have e6 and queen. You know, this is really bad for black. But I didn't go for that because I had this idea in my head way before any of this happened. It was when I played knight to f3. But yeah, I played this knight f4 move. Currently I'm pawn down, which is fair enough, but the engine says it's fine for me. And the idea behind this knight f4 move is that I'm basically just hitting this d5 pawn a bit sneakily, because if I take it and then queen take, let's say it's my move, let's just say he plays e6. Well, I mean, this bishop's hanging, so never mind. But basically the idea is after takes the bishop's pinned. That's the idea. After knight f4, he plays e5, which is the best move. And this is literally where I saw it from knight f3, so what, like 4 or 5 moves ago? 3 moves ago, apparently, was this knight takes d5 idea. And this is my whole idea. And the engine slightly disagrees with me, and that is fair enough because it's a bit dodgy. But yeah, like I said, after queen takes d5, I'm going to go e3. And he plays f5, which is actually a slight mistake. What he should do instead is this bishop f5, because it develops the piece and it connects his rooks. And it's just slightly better than this f5, because also f5 is a bit weak on this a2 g8 diagonal. Like, you know, queen b3 can be able to check at any point, or just in general, it sort of weakens his king. It's not really what he wants. I mean, after like bishop f5, I can just take here, and then we get this sort of weird position after g4, queen d3, bishop b6. I'm rushing through this a little bit because I was never really going to go for this. Really, but yeah, the idea is like he loops the bishop round to c6, and it's actually eyeing my king. Yeah, and there's no sort of threat with this because he just easily defends. And I mean, this is bad for me. But yeah, after e3, he goes f5, which is very fortunate, I guess you could say. So I take it back now, and then when he takes here, again, I'm just a pawn down. But as you can see from the eval, I think I got the eval. Yeah, you can see by the eval, it's slightly equal, or if not, slightly better for white, even though I'm a pawn down. And the reason is I basically just have the bishop pair, and after I go queen d3, my rooks are coming in very quickly, and I have a tempo like bishop h6, and then my rooks are connected, whereas this bishop maybe doesn't have that good of a square. You know, we talked about c6 earlier, but now it's not so much a threat because this d4 pawn, he needs to hold on to it. He can't go rook d8 straight away because I have this bishop g5. It's obviously the knight is pinned, and it's just very tricky for him. I even know bishop e3 after rook d1, and I think he's losing the pawn, and then maybe we get to a boring draw, which I have to play on for ages. But yeah, the main idea is I have the bishop pair, so I want to use that to the best of my ability. So I go queen d3, and he goes bishop e6, which is fair enough. And now I just bring my piece in. I go rook e1, because I'm thinking I want this rook on d1. This rook on e1 also stops some queen c4 ideas later on. I think right now it might work. Look at this lag. But I don't think I can take this, right? And I can. I mean, I thought maybe you could pin it, but no, see, that doesn't work. I can show you why. Because like I thought he could pin it. I can actually just ignore it and go like here and then win this pawn. It's probably just drawn. So yeah, this rook e1 is also just putting pressure on this knight. It's now saying I can actually take the knight. Because as you can see, I'm attacking it 3 times. Good arrow with the rook. And he's only defending it twice. And as you remember, when he goes bishop e6, he's blocking this e-file. So the rook can't actually defend it. I mean, it can kind of defend it. So after rook f e8, I can't take it straight away because let's say something like this. He has bishop f5. Yeah, he has bishop f5 because this doesn't quite work, I don't think. Because where does this queen go? Queen d1 and then bishop h2. Look at this. This is awful. And I think if I take with the queen, it's even worse, right? Like bishop f7, I'm losing this rook. So I can't take it straight away. I actually went bishop g5, which I've given the, not the brilliant, but the great move. Because obviously it's quite simple to see that it's pinned because of the light squared bishop, but I think the idea which I was most happy with was the move after. So after bishop f7 defends this knight again, 1 2 3, and I'm hitting it 1 2 3. Makes sense. I then bring this rook in. I'm now hitting this. And as you can see, this bishop g5 stops his rook from coming to d8 to defend this pawn. So now you might be thinking, oh, well, I'm winning the pawn back, and I've got the bishop. That's my dog. You'll meet my dog soon, I'm sure. So now you could be saying, oh, okay, I'm winning the pawn back, and I've got the bishop pair. My king's a bit safer, rooks are more active, and you're probably right. But after rook ac8, I think my dog's just going to keep barking. I don't even know if you can hear the dog, but he's barking. So yeah, he plays rook ac8, and now I can't take on d4 because after this, the knight, the knight can hit the bishop, and my bishop's just hanging. And it's the same sort of story here, where if I go like this, and then this, it's the same thing. My bishop's hanging. So then you might be thinking, oh, well, this bishop g5 has kind of slowed you down here from attacking this pawn or attacking this knight and winning the material back. But actually, I have this nice move, bishop f6, which is the idea of bishop g5. So bishop f6, because now I'm actually blocking off the king from coming up, which is always nice. His knight, again, still can't take because it's pinned. And also, it's hitting this d4 pawn, which is really, really important. So he actually makes a slight mistake here with rook c4. And now you can see that bar, the eval bar, just shoots straight up, that now I'm slightly better. The reason is, this pawn is under attack, this knight is still pinned, and it's under attack. And after b3, really he should just go back and just admit defeat, and then go down to c7 and try and defend afterwards, and just accept that he's going to be a pawn down of a really uncomfortable position. Rook d7. Try and pin my bishop, but maybe I can just go like queen e3, something like this. Yeah, he doesn't go back to c7. He actually goes rook b4. And now I see an opportunity to win the pawn back with bishop takes e4, but I actually missed something, and I can actually just take on d4 here. I was a bit worried about rook d8, but the idea is now when I take on e4, and he goes queen takes d4, I have queen f3, and I miss this idea because it protects the rook, and then I'm hitting this, and I'm winning the pawn on b7. So for example, queen b6, I take, oh my god, this PC is awful, and I take on b7, and now I won the pawn back, and now I'm actually a pawn up, and his rook is a little bit offside. It's not doing much there. My king's a lot safer than his. I think h4, h5 is a problem for him, but I didn't see this queen f3 move, unfortunately. So after rook b4, I took on e4 straight away, and after he takes back, which was very lucky for me, this is the kind of the line I calculated is after f takes e4, I go queen d2, and I'm slightly better. It's the only good move, but actually he could have just done rook takes e4. And now it's a little bit more questionable. After queen d2, he can go e3, which is, yeah, I mean, have fun calculating this one, I think. No, sorry, I think it's just this. Yeah, have fun calculating this one. For the example of rook f1, I think he just goes bishop d5, and I'm getting mated. But yeah, like I said, luckily for me, he takes on e4 with the pawn, so I play now queen d2. The only good move, like I said, and he plays queen d6. It's just the best move, but unfortunately for him now, I'm winning my pawn back, and his king is very weak. I would just like to point out, though, that we've got opposite colored bishops. I have the dark squared, he has the light squared bishop. So if everything trades off, it's kind of equal, kind of drawish. But the thing that's going for me is that this e4 pawn is isolated, and I can try and target it, as well as this rook, again, being a bit offside, a bit uncomfortable, and I've got the attack on the king, stuff like queen h6. Now, luckily for me, he blunders with rook d8, but this wasn't the main blunder. I basically just get this pawn straight away, and I didn't have to like fight for it or maneuver in any way. You just gave me the pawn, and I think that's because he thought that my bishop was pinned. I'd be in trouble after like bishop d5. Now, unfortunately for me, I missed a tactic that just wins on the spot. My teammates pointed this out after the game and said that I'm shit, and I said, yes, I am shit, but I'm a CM, so get over it. So I'll give you a little moment to find the win, and hopefully, actually, you can just pause it, mate. It's bishop c5 or bishop e5 work, and the idea is bishop c5, and then he takes, I'm taking this rook, and then if this trades, I mean, this bishop is pinned, and I'm going to go rook d4 and win it all. Also, I think slightly better was bishop e5, and this because it guarantees wins the queen. So after like this, and this, he actually has nothing, and I drew these arrows before to be sure that I'm hitting this a7 pawn, I'm hitting this bishop, and also he has new funny stuff like, you know, maybe he goes like bishop c6, right? And then if I take, oh, boom, mate, and that was one lucky thing that the queen was covering on e1, so he had none of these ideas either. But unfortunately, oh, I've gone all the way back. I did miss that, and I was too excited that I was winning. And I, relatively quickly, to be honest, yeah, I played queen h6 because I kind of knew it was winning. And obviously I'm threatening mate if he takes the rook. So the only move is queen f8, and I kind of calculated this to the end, knowing I was winning before I played queen h6, because I was very nervous that like it wasn't going to go well for me. I really just wanted to win this game. So after I take, and then rook takes, I have rook e7. This is the main thing, is now this rook g7 check, and I've got this like windmill sort of tactic, I think it's called. I've recently learned that. I didn't know it was called a windmill. I didn't know the name. I didn't have a name for it. I just thought it was called, I don't know. But yeah, now I'm just completely fine, and he then blunders with bishop f3 and just allows this rook g7 check, because after king h8, I have a very nice win here, which I definitely didn't miss. So there you go. You have another chance to play better than me and find the win. The win is, of course, bishop c3. I think bishop b2, bishop a1 also works. Bishop a1 is the flashiest, but bishop c3 is slightly more accurate, I think, because it hits the rook. But I did not play that. I just went for a very simple win with rook f7 check, and then after king g8, I'm just going to take, and then check here. And you might be thinking, whoa, wait a second, your rook is under attack here. Well, it is, but after king e8, I'm going to go rook d3, and I'm going to hit this bishop. It's the only move that's winning, I think. I'm going to hit this bishop now, and he can't go to bishop e4, bishop e2, because I just check on e3, or I'll just pin on e3, and I have f3. But he tries something different. He goes rook b5, and now I change my plan. I say, you know what, I don't want to win this bishop. I'm actually just going to trap your rook instead. I'm going to go b4 to protect my bishop, and then a4 to hit this rook. And yeah, it's completely trapped. And just so to make things easier for me, after bishop takes a4, and I have rook takes a7. So now I'm a rook and a pawn for a bishop, which is very nice for me. I'm starting to get a little bit nervous here. I was looking at the other games in the match, and we were probably going to win the match, and if I converted. So I was very happy. I kind of knew this is where I was going to get my title, and playing title Tuesday for the first time, which is very nice feeling. So I'll go through a couple more moves now, because I think it's important that you know how to convert. So first I cut off the king, and then I start pushing my pawns a little bit to take the squares. And now look at the squares that I've taken from the king. All these squares are taken from the king. All my pawns are on dark squares, so there's no targets for the bishop. He can only go to f5. So I saw this very early, that if he ever puts his bishop on f5, I can put him in Zugzwang, and this actually happened in the game, so I'm kind of spoiling it. So he actually has no moves at all, so I start targeting his pawns after pushing my own a little bit. I'm cutting off this king again, I'm hitting this, he's got to go here, and now finally I can trade off this pawn, and now there's absolutely no qualms, because the little problem before was that if you won this c5 pawn, I might be in a little bit of trouble with this pass b pawn, but now, after I got rid of it, there's nothing that can go wrong. And here we see the bishop f5, and I try and maneuver him to e4, and boom, I play this rook d6, which is the killer blow, because his king has no squares. Look, this is being covered, the bishop's blocking this one, my king covers these two, and my rook covers the other three. So he's forced basically to move his bishop any square. You can pick any square, and I'm just going to take on g6, and it's all but over. I mean, it was already all but over, but this rook d6 was a nice little final blow. And yeah, that's how you basically convert that game, I guess. So yeah, this got me, I think, like 11 rating. As you can see, it's 2259, so it's a very good opponent from the Philippines, I believe. And it was a tricky game. I'm very happy I won. I think I was lucky that I was team captain and gave myself white, but no, I'm joking. We are right now. I'm not joking. I'm very happy about this game. Sorry if I'm a bit low energy. I'm like a little bit ill, and also it's my first video back. I was excited to record. I'm really upset that I didn't upload for like a week, because I was really feeling it recently. So this was on my list of videos to make. Glad I made it, and glad I could share it. Hopefully you learned something. If you've got any questions, please comment, let me know, and yeah, be happy to help. Thank you for watching.